Hey guys, what's up? You're here with Dakota Fishman, and so I blow about 85,000 Holy Stars during this whole Labyrinth event. I mean, it was pretty fun. As you can tell, I got quite a bit out of it. It wasn't too bad for rare materials this time around. Again, people were making crazy gains out of the Labyrinth this time around. They were winning some, obviously you had people that were making, like getting away with the million gems, yeah, you can tell at that top right. I mean, people were winning them minute after minute after minute. Again, again, this was my attempt at the normal labyrinth, and I was like, oh boy, and then of course, the boss appeared, and I was like, oh, will it be the day? Will it be the day? And it didn't happen. But I was like, oh, okay, that's some gems. That's not too bad, right? And so we kept going, and again, this divine blessing goes up quite a while, actually. It was quite surprising. Up to 18 times. It was pretty nice, and then of course, again, we kept going through it, doing the best that we could to just, to make the most out of these, 100s as much as we could. Because again, I was kind of hoping at the time that, maybe I'd actually win something. And that was, it was kind of like the running idea at the time. And I was thinking, oh yeah, this is the way to win. This is how you win the labyrinth, guys. And go into normal labyrinth and spend 100 at a time and just see what you'll get. Yeah, it was not, it wasn't too bad. Now to be honest with you guys, looking back on this decision, I don't know, like for me personally. It's a nice thought to think you could possibly win, but I think now that I've had my chance at it, I'm gonna stick to Elite from here on out. Now of course, we do have that new monster coming out. As of today, on the 27th, we do have a new pack coming out tonight as well. That'll be adding 500k energy for like $20. So I'll have like 4.5 million energy probably. And so when we'll be able to, the Phantom Knight will come out here on the 30th. And so when that comes up, we will, I'll have a new vid up for you, and hopefully we'll get a lot of Holy Stars, a lot of speed ups, and we'll be able to hopefully give a crack at this again. But instead of using, obviously we'll go back into the normal when we're down to like 2,000 or 3,000 Holy Stars. But for every other hit, if I can do a 10 times hit, I'm going to do it on Elite. Because Elite just pays out so much more, like, wonderfully. And of course, you can see I got quite a bit of gold here and there in certain spots. Some speeds, quite a few winged boots here and there. Again, the rare materials in this is awesome. Again, hitting that divine blessing was like that just transcended the ethical borderline and everything. Like, I honestly, if I didn't hit that like divine blessing, I would have just gave up hope at some point. But I loved getting that blessing. But after a while, I started to notice that I just wasn't winning the boss, and I was starting to blow through more Holy Stars faster and faster. And I was just like, man, I was kind of hoping I'd win the boss again, and it wasn't happening. I'm like, oh, come on, man, come on, give it to me. And it never did. I mean, it never. I only got it once. I was like, oh man, that sucks. Yeah, and it was this again. This is with 25,000 Holy Stars at the time. I mean, I hit Divine Blessing quite a few times though, which I mean, I'll have to say, for the number of times I won Divine Blessing, that was pretty cool. Like, we got quite a bit out of that for the total number of hours that we got out of it. It was awesome. Like, we got tons and tons of healing speeds and stuff. And again, again, with Labyrinth in particular, right? I mean, again, it's not a guarantee you're gonna win. It's like the lottery, I mean, you'll have your wins and losses. You get close, from time to time, but you never really quite know what you got coming up against you. Again, with this in particular, right? I mean, at this point, I was like, okay, you know what? Screw it, going into Elite. And so, here I just start going at it, and so I'm like, okay, this is a little better, it's like versus getting 1 or 2 items, now I'm getting 11 times. But as you can tell, I just start birding through my Holy Stars, and then I'm like, to this point, I'm like, oh wait, I got 11 ancient blueprints. I was like, oh, okay, yeah, screw it, I'll do it. I'll run the chance, and I chanced it, and so, of course, I had 580 left. I was like, all right, well, I'll just go ahead and blow these away then. So, yeah, went ahead and got rid of those, and so that wasn't too bad. So, then of course, I gave it another try, so I got another 60,000. And so here again, I tried normal labyrinth again because I was like, God, I just want to be sure, like, isn't, because I've had a lot of people win in the normal labyrinth, so I'm like, all I gotta do is win once, damn it. All I gotta do is win once. So I kept going at it, with the hope that maybe I could win. And of course, I don't know, I gave up at some point. I was like, alright, screw it, back to elite. And then the boss appeared. I was like, oh dear. And so, of course I went crazy. I was like, oh, hit, and then I got, like a pretty nice sum of gems there, as you can tell. Like, it was really nice that, of course I only hit him, a couple times. I only got 3 hits off him. And then looking back, I wish I could have hit him again because, boy, I would have came out so much lucrative. And obviously, like, every time I get a divine blessing in here, though, like, it is so much better, but it doesn't last anywhere near as long. Again, a ton of gold, though. Like, out of elite, I was absolutely crazy. Like, at this point, I was like, man, this is where it's at. Because I was getting 11 cores, and, I was getting, like, tons of stuff. And, of course, I backed up for a bit. I was like, okay, I don't trust this. I'm going to refresh it. I'm going to test my luck again. Maybe I'll win. Then I got 11 Jade Orbs there, another 11 Jade Orbs, and again I was like, yeah, and then I got a Divine Blessing. I was like, okay, maybe this is the secret, like maybe you gotta back in, back out. Yeah, I don't think that was really doing anything, but I was so happy with what I was getting at the time that I was just like, okay, this isn't too bad, like if I keep getting 11 times rares, at this rate, I'm probably gonna I'll do this more often, but of course, I kept going at it, and of course, I got tons of speeds, some more rares here and there. It looks like I got some energy, and definitely a lot more black, one of those glowing eyes. Of course, I was at 8,000 stars, so I was like, okay, now it's time to switch over and go to this and see if I'll win. Because I was like, this is what I should have done all along, is, it's just like, power through it with, the 10Ks, and then when you're running out of, and you can't kill it with the 1Ks, then you move over to this, and you just chance it and hope that maybe you'll get something. At this point, I was like, yeah, maybe I'll win the labyrinth or something, that was kind of the hope, but, again, I don't know. It was tough, because I kept thinking, man, if I just restart it, maybe I'll get it this time. Maybe I'll win, And so I kept going for it, and I had a couple close calls here and there, where I thought just maybe I'd win, but the only 2 times I ever ran into the boss with 85,000 gems was really just then, and so at that point I was like, well, do I do elite? Do I do normal? And I'm like, okay, I'll just finish it up in normal, because I was like, well, I could do, elite and chance it, but I was like, no. But then the boss appeared, and I was like, oh my god. Like at this point I was freaking out. I was like, oh, please be me my chance. Please give it to me. And I didn't kill, and I was like, oh, and I just died inside. Like, at that point, I was like so saddened. I was like, oh, come on. 3 times I've hit this boss, and twice he screwed me. And then I was just, I don't know, I was distraught at this point, so I was like, alright, backing out, doing it again, because I'm like, okay, this is definitely not working for me, so I gotta try this out again. So, of course, I got the Divine Blessing, so I was like, oh, cool, and then it only lasted for like a second, and then I got it again, and I'm like, oh, well, okay. I'm like, I kind of like where this is going. So I'm like, okay, there's, a little bit of combo. Again, the little combos were okay. Like, I was happy with that. Again, a little bit of loot here and there, a million gold, which I thought, okay, that's not too bad. Because again, at the time, I just got done unlocking tier 4s, guys. And I was like, I need gold now. Like, oh my god. Like, I've spend all this gold. I need gold so bad. And so, I started, I was like, okay, I gotta go in the labyrinth now. This is a must. I have to do this. And so here I come to a Raps, with the boss appearing at, only 300 Oli stars, and I was like, oh, please be my chance. And I was like, oh shit, I ran out. Fuck. And so then here I'm like, well, okay, what do I do? I'm like, okay, I'll just spend 1,000, okay. And then I hit it once and I only get a 300. I was like, oh boy. I'm like, no. And I'm like hitting it because I'm like, oh come on, give it to me, give it to me, give it to me. And like here I was like, oh come on, no. I was like, I was so distraught after that. I was like, oh man. And so that's pretty much it. See you guys next time.